This is Inspire More Life podcast. We have two amazing guests here, Mary and Matthew. I'm so excited to dive in. Mary right here, she's incredible. You came into the States, started a law firm, was able to be super successful. You're continuously building. Now you and Matthew have a company as well. I'm excited to dive in. Mary, please introduce yourself. Just tell a little bit about yourself, anything you would like us to know.
Yeah. Vanakkam. This is my say of respect to the audience, actually, to
Oh, I love
start
it.
with, from where I came from, the roots of India. Mary Kennedy, Adekala Mary Kennedy, and then I'm an attorney at law, immigration attorney, have my law firm and law offices of Mary Kennedy, located in Schaumburg, Illinois.
Okay, amazing. Matthew, introduce yourself. Let's
Sweet.
go.
Hi guys. I don't have as nice of an intro, but my name is Matthew Kadakadathu. I'm one of the co-founders of New Roots EB5 Fund. Mrs. Kennedy is one of the other co-founders. We have this family business together, and we've gotten to operate it for about a year and a half now. So it's been a crazy journey. Mrs. Kennedy is also one of my mentors, and so I look up to her a lot. I have a lot of respect, admiration, and I've learned a lot over the years. And so I'm excited to dive into this podcast and just chop it up.
So today we're going to mainly dive into Mary's story, but Matthew, this is going to be a little bit different. Matthew's going to be a little bit of my co-host here, but we're really going to aim in on Mary's story. And then Matthew actually has a podcast already out on Apple and Spotify, so go tap into his podcast, listen to his story. It was an amazing conversation, and now we're back. Now we're here. We have him back. Mary, how are we doing today?
I'm doing fine, amazing.
Well, I was able to get to know you through Matthew, and you have an incredible story. Let's just dive right in. What got you into law?
Oh, so the law and the choice was made by dad. I look up to my dad for each and everything because the legacy he has built. He's an headmaster, we call in India, which is like a principal. So an amazing man, human. So he chose to be my legal career. But then again, coming back from a very shy, timid girl, when I just chose to be in my legal background, still I remember, just getting into my law school, 3 months into it, and then I was just walking through. I felt something has to be changed. I don't have the reasoning or anything behind it, but I did feel that I won't be able to continue my profession if I'm going to hold on to my shyness of whatever it is. So the moment still, it's very, very clear to me. And then I said, I'm breaking my comfort zone and being an extrovert, moving forward, connecting with more people. But my vision, so the one character in me, I would say, is anything given to me, I want to be very detailed. I won't say the word perfect. I don't want to use it, but very detailed and with all my heart and soul. I want to do it. Let it be anything from smaller to that of a legal profession, whatever it is I am involved, and then I do it with all my heart and soul.
Yeah, I love that. It sounds like your father had an amazing impact on your life. Was he in India at the time? Did he come to America? What was that like for the relationship and where y'all really built that?
Right. He is definitely an Indian and he wants to be in his roots. And he's a headmaster, as I said. A small story to start with. He loves, he's very sincere to his profession of his teaching profession. And as well, when I was like in my 8 years, 9 years old, we used to have a scooter. So I used to sit in the front and my mom in the back. So when he takes me, it's like a 10 minutes drive from my home to that of my school. So on the way, all that I see is, the whole people, whoever sees him, they call him Vanakkam sir, like with hands folded. So somewhere or other, it has a huge impact on me. And I do remember still very well being a very young, kid, I should be earning that respect. That made a very profound, impact on me. I know I should earn the respect of people, the community, in whatever I do.
Did you go to high school and your early education was in what part of India were you in?
I was from a place called Tamil Nadu, and I proudly say we do have a very good values of who we are education was something that was not a choice for us. So, from my generation, and I was very proud to say that even when my grandma used to be a teacher, so Tamil Nadu is one of the states where women's education has been not given as a choice. So, as a forerunner of education, being women, so then I was also, given the same value. And with my two younger sister and me, three girls in the family, which in India was considered a burden rather than an asset when it's a girl child. But overcoming that, my dad, my father, I call him Appa, never was even said a word that, you as a girl is a burden to me or the family. So I'm encouraged in anything I do, whatever I do when it comes to education. That's a priority at home.
I love that. When I hear about individual success, I hear a lot about the parents and their influence in the kids' lives and how they grow up throughout their lives and how impact they're looking back at what their father spoke into their life, what their mother spoke into their life. So I love to hear that your father spoke this positivity, didn't necessarily get caught up with societal norms, and was like to allow you to grow and develop in the way you're going. When did you end up coming to the States?
So like that's an interesting story as well. I was married and then I had two children, Steve and Sandra. And then, so moving back to the US was an great opportunity. People in India were looking forward during that period of time. So my husband came in 99. So, even though he came for his career choice and his betterment of our family, our life and everything, I always thought he will be back after a year or two. So I waited for 2 years to move back to US because uprooting was not easy for me. Still, do struggle with that. And
What wasn't easy for you?
uprooting are, like from India to here.
Okay, I got you. Uprooting, yeah.
Uprooting completely was not easy at all for me. Knowing that we are getting a better life, better financially and everything, but still, it was not that easy. I was very much into my family, means my extended family, my parents, as well as my in-laws. So it was very hard. So I waited 2 years, and I thought my husband might be back after some time. But understanding that, I joined him back. The initial years were very, very hard to be saying this. Even like in some of the months when it's going to be something 31 days, I don't like it because I felt my days are getting extended in a foreign country.
I got
That
you.
was the struggle I had being an immigrant in a foreign country.
When did you start to get used to that feeling?
It was natural. Eventually, it happened. When I would say it was very late. In the last 7, 8 years, I'm very grateful to this country where, like my last 24, 25 years, when I look back, we came in 2000 actually. With that, I would say I'm very grateful to US for whatever the opportunity, because if I look back right now, my whole identity, this country has given me more than what I deserve. That's what I feel as an immigrant. So I'm very, very grateful for that. When I say that, I'm emotional, but I mean it. So that much it had given me an identity of who I am when I look back in all the 24 years, not only towards my legal career, but as an individual, and more than that, as a mother. When I look back, my children, who they are, they stand at 30 years, and then 25, 26 years, my younger one. But the whole transition happened in the recent last 10 years, I would say.
Yeah. Matthew, you've seen your parents kind of uproot, come to the U.S. and do that. Do you see some of the similarities through the journeys?
I think the immigrant struggle is very real because you imagine you come from a society that was so warm, you had so much help, you had, assistance for driving, for cooking, from everything. And then you had a community of people that if you needed someone to watch the children, they were there as well too. You leave that warm society, you come to the US where everyone's so individualistic. Everyone's very cold-blooded in the sense of they're not very concerned with other people and what's going on with other people. So there isn't that care and affection the same way. So it's very easy to feel isolated and without any help. And then your family's abroad. they're on a different timeline as well too. They're raising their families, their kids. And so in Mrs. Kennedy's case, she had her first kid when she was 22,
Yeah, that's
22
good.
years old, to then balance that with then pursuing career while being a mother full time. Like, I could see the same struggles with my parents as well too when they were coming to the States. And then they, at least my mom and dad, mommy at least had 10 brothers and sisters to help around here. Their family didn't really have anyone to help, drop off the kids, or, I need some mental support or things like that, that I feel like we were blessed with, at least.
Yeah, 100%. Did you finish your degree in India? Or did you get your degree or start your education here?
No, I did my law degree in India. So I did my 5 years of a law degree in India. And then I came in 2000, and then I started working for a law firm in New Jersey. That's when I started my career as an, related to legal career. And so it's an immigration law firm. So I'm thankful still now for that as well. So starting from that, learning towards it, as I said earlier, I'm very detailed in the work and very involved in what I do. So then I just started the passion towards being an immigration lawyer, and then taking my bar. And then that's another journey that I was able to do it, because I completely have to, redo everything, whatever has been, unlearn so many, what has been known to me. And then I have to restart my career. And then there were very many times my husband as well is very career focused. So leaving my children, to overcome that, and balancing so many things. But looking back, I'm very, very thankful that I chose the decisions that I made all through my years helped me to be at a place where I'm grateful, and I didn't overdo. At the same time, very careful in choosing some of my life decisions.
To be clear, so you come from India, you come in, your law degree in India, you do 5 years in India, then you come here, you have to do that over again. How many years do you have to do to be able to make sure you get your education? Is that 3 to 5?
No, actually, I didn't do my JD program, which is a 3 years.
Okay.
Considering my family, and then children, and as I said, my husband being very career oriented, right? So. Then I took my bar exam.
Do your bar exam?
Yeah, right.
And then did you go right into an organization to work under someone, or did you go right into creating your own agency, autonomy in terms of being an entrepreneur?
Yeah, right. My entrepreneur journey, I would again go back to my dad. On the legal career, after my getting my bar license and everything, that was natural in the sense I didn't even have a second thought when I look back. So this law firm is like 7 years right now. And so when I look back, that was something I learned from my dad, in the sense, the journey of an entrepreneur, when it comes to new roots as well, it's very, very natural for me. And then, everybody will be worried about the risk and all those. So that was for me, committing myself, involving myself, and the passion that drives me every day. And so when I look back, that's the driving success of where we stand on both firms.
Yeah. So you always knew you were going to go and create something yourself.
Oh, yes, that's correct. Because my dad is it's a very big entrepreneur.
I could say a little bit more too. So in my mind, he's a visionary as well. So one of the things I remember was I came over to Mrs. Kennedy's place. Sandra and Steve were there, and we were just sharing a meal together. And her dad happened to be visiting also. And so this is the first time meeting. It was very, exciting. And he's 85, right? And so I remember my grandpa at 85. He was going through some mental illness. He had some medical problems, but her dad was so articulate in so much what he was explaining. He was talking about current politics, geopolitics. He was just so caught up on everything that was going on, yet he was 85. And then he was explaining to me, like, the headmaster, like, what he was doing. And he was saying how I have 300 workers under me, Matt, but not 300 illiterate workers. I have 300 literate workers. He said it with such force and emphasis and power. It made me question. I was like, this man's 85, and the amount of energy, enthusiasm, passion that he has at his age was like making me question, what kind of legacy do I want to leave when I'm 85, 86, or that age, right? So I could just see where Mrs. Kennedy gets it from, because he's such a powerful man and yet like very humble, down to earth, and just can connect with the common people, very authentic. And so I was just like, I could see where, you know, the family passes it on like one generation to the next generation. So I
Yeah.
would say he was definitely a visionary back in those days, because they built that school brick by brick in one of the poorest areas in like the Tamil Nadu area. And so it's even more difficult to execute what he did with the resources that he had, but somehow he found a way to do it.
So
And
he
that
built a
persistence,
school that created 300
like
literal.
basically like people that
Come
supported
through.
him, the community.
I got
And
you.
then there's people even in from the school that have graduated that have so much love and respect for him, because now they're in the US, or now they're but where they started from was, you would never imagine that they could be in this position now. And I think even Mrs. Kennedy has met some of those people too, and they're just extremely thankful, you know, because where they came from wasn't a lot, but to be able to get to the US, that's a dream come true.
So the question is this, right? You had a father who was super successful in India. Why leave? Why not? Like, when you're thinking about the American dream, and there's probably an Indian dream within India as well, why leave the success in India? What does America provide that India doesn't, especially when you had a father who was successful within that territory?
So, to be precise, like, my dad's success and all those, I was able to, like just relate it and realize it at a later point of my, my journey of life, actually. But even if not, my dad, like, so I, like, so I'm a person who was at a place where anything to be done, I'm a supporter of the dreams. I'd been very, very naturally had been doing it. So when it comes to my family, so my husband and then his career, and just looking at it, when he came to software, that's the place in America was the one that provided the dreams getting successful. And then, so when we just moved in as a family, but, when I speak about my journey over here, my dad, still he feels that that's not the right decision that we could have taken, but he's not a person to stop our goals or dreams or visions towards it.
What was the mindset? Like, what was really the vision that really connected y'all to America?
My husband, like when he did, switch his career from, he was a mechanical engineer in the chemical industry, was little hard for him when you look back after 20 years. And then, so when he switched his career to that of an IT profession, then America was the dream. And then he came in, and then I was supporting him. And then we came over here. And then one turning point for both of us, we both were definitely looking forward to go back to India, to our roots. But our children made the decision different. When they were growing up, both of them, which they know, and then they're, like Matthew said, one thing I'm very grateful for, they still now, they're very respectful and grateful for the decision that we made for them to continue to be here, and then provide them the best of what we could afford to do it in their, home, or their education, or their career.
Yeah.
Which they are very, very, they could definitely relate it, and then they were very grateful for that. So that made, after 10 years of them being in US, and then they definitely want to go back to India only for vacation, because their childhood has been built in America. So for them, again, uprooting is going to be hard for them when we have to ask them to do anything. So then we continued. But I'm very grateful, because, as I said, in the last 10 years, maybe my aging or my maturity of life was completely different, and my empathy, my authenticity of who I am, serving the community. I'm so grateful for the profession, as well as an individual who I am at this time.
Yeah,
Right.
amazing. A lot of women are listening to this, and they're probably like, how do you champion your husband at the same time work towards a successful career too? Did you learn any lessons in that process of putting your husband first, but then at the same time, knowing that you could be successful in what you wanted to do later on in life?
Yeah, for me, God first.
Okay.
And then I'm very, that's where when I talking about my dad as well, another one I learned is, as Matthew said, like the school that he built in from nowhere, from ground. And then he says to me, till now, every brick has my prayers. So, which is very profound for me. When he says it's a very successful institution, it's filled with love, it's filled with education, the value system of everything in the last 30 years. I think 30 years, because exactly that's Steve's, my son's age, is the school institution. So coming back to that, I am also my faith journey, and then coming back to family. That's the next one. I always have been able to prioritize when it comes to family,
Yeah.
right? And then, like for me, bound, like just binding together, no matter what that involves. My sacrifices. Some days it's not easy, but putting family first and then working towards that. And then my career, I was very mindful building it in a way that I am involved at the same time, how the priorities towards the family, towards my husband or my children or myself goes as well.
Yeah. You talk about your kids a lot.
Right.
They weren't raised in India. Sometimes I have a little brother, he's 2 years younger, and I'm like, man, he wasn't raised in the generation I was raised in. Things are different, right? And so since they didn't come from India, they were raised in America. Maybe I don't know if they lost, I'm not going to say anything of that nature, but being raised in America does change some things. Have you worked to like instill any of the things that you went through as a kid in India that you tried to like keep or structure to make sure that your kids come up with that hardworking mentality, or what you may say like an immigrant mentality of making sure like, no excuses and making sure to get stuff done? Is there any way you continue to instill that in them?
I can say that, and Matthew can
Yeah, I
add
was gonna say.
into
Okay, yeah, contribute. We got
because I've been friends.
we got the
with them
product
so long.
themselves. Let's do it.
Yeah. So then to start with, then Matthew can
Yeah.
complete it.
But also, Matthew has his own. What I meant by that is like you have your own experience too, because you're first generation. Your parents came here, and so you're kind of in Steve and Sandra's situation.
I'm
as
saying
well.
I could speak on Sandra and Steve
Oh,
because
Sandra
I've known
Steve.
them for so
I
long.
got you.
I could tell you exactly why they have the characteristics and traits that they have.
Okay, let's hear it.
Yeah, right. So just a simple, stories. I'm very good in saying, stories, and that's how I built who I am. So coming back to, Steve was in the soccer when he was in his high school. So then I used to drop him back, and then as soon as dropping him back in the soccer game, I rush back home, and then I just cook for him. So then, after some time period, then he was telling me every parents sit and watch the game, but you just leave me and you're back home. I didn't know that, for him, more important for me is to be more involved, because that's very different for me, just feeding them. Because all that I'm worried about is my son coming back home and then making some food which is ready for him, as he's, I know physically he's worn out when he comes back. So I make sure there is protein, there is food at table for him. And then I'm so focused on that till I realize that he's expecting me to be watching his game. It's very new, Jonathan. You don't know whether it seems as simple as such from a culture where
Yeah.
I come from. But again, the moment I learned that, the conversation, I was immediate to say, Steve, I'm very sorry. I didn't know that. I'm always a person where, when it comes to the family or my children or anywhere, I have to learn. Forgive me for what I don't know. That awareness was there, that humbleness was there for me. Because what more are you going to gain with all the ego and the pride who I'm going to be? I think that's part of my journey. And, just getting old, aging, helps me out to be as much as authentic as possible. Whoever the receiving person, so I don't even care whether they deserve it or not. I'm grounded. I'm very humble. That's one of the values I want to be. Very authentic in who I'm going to be. Very empathetic, very compassion, kindness. That's all. I'm very, very mindful of all those character in me.
All those characteristics and value you just mentioned, are those from your father and your parents?
Yeah, my parents, my dad models it, but I am, as I said, last 10 years, I look at people anything I can learn from them. Older people, I'm always connected with 15 years older people of my age group, just learning every day, keeping it as an opportunity for me to learn. How can I change myself? The self awareness of who I am going to be, looking back to see after 10 years who I want to be. How do I adopt those characters in me every day, mindful of working towards me?
I think that's so special, but I also think it's still rare. You know what I'm
It's
saying? I
very
don't know
rare,
if
very
all your
rare.
sisters do it or anything of that nature, but like I still feel like even when you have a good role model, a good father, a good mother, and they doing still, you're still taking it to like the next level of awareness and articulation and your values and stuff like that. So I don't know quite where, you know, the intentionality of that comes from you for you, but it's such a beautiful thing.
I'm very sure, Jonathan. I just, I go to a women's group where, like all the women are 80 years and above. And then I just look at every one of their life, even to my clients. I just went for an interview with the women who's 92 years old and she's taking her citizenship. You know what I learned from her? She told me that she lives in the 21st floor. It's a very simple conversation I had with her. And then she was telling me, how I am active today. And she's so, I could never see any other person. She was walking. She said, I'm wearing a white jacket. Is it not going to be dirty when I take a bus and go back? So I'm going to walk back. So active with her mind. And she told me this. She said she used to see people watching people from the 21st floor. And she says that connects her to be very active, mindful about it. And she's saying, I get that energy every day just looking at people walking on the side on the windows. So these are all the values that I learned from each one of them. For me, it's not a client, it's something very related to me as a person, as an individual. I just go back to think through that, where do I stand? What do I adopt from them? What do I learn? I want to be as child as possible, as humble as me, to learn it from everyone.
Mary Kennedy, thank you so much for the detail of your story that you're giving us. And Matthew, you had a question about immigrants and asking about how you get plugged. Phrase that again, man.
Yeah, so
Hop in for us.
I was gonna ask, as immigrants look to come over to the U.S., what would be some things that they could do to assimilate faster to the U.S. and maybe find their community or find their people? I know the Tamil community is very powerful. I'm Malayali, and I'm just watching the Tamil communities of how many events they have. They have Tamil Sangams, they have FETNA, they have ATA, and these are all groups that support entrepreneurs and uplift leaders and community members as well too. I just wanted to get your perspective on that.
Yeah, so I know, being on both as an immigrant myself, and then in the day to day, my life and my everything revolves around them. So US is a land of opportunities. When you look back, are comparing both nations and everything. So definitely, like there is a land of opportunity. But one thing, I don't want to say that younger generation or my generation or those terms, but at the same time, always a hard work, and then just be very precise about your planning of your family or your career. That is something that I feel after a few years people are getting very comfortable. Okay, I am at a place where I never thought I'm going to be, so now things are better for me. I don't want anyone, as Matthew said, I connect with the community in different levels. Being an entrepreneur, any meetings that I go to, I try to encourage people. Like Matthew, that's my, every time, he was just, like so closely connected when it comes to New Roots, or even prior to that. What I have invested, I want to spend my time, anything in an young entrepreneur, an young individual, is something I want to be very, very intentional to support them, to make them grow, see them grow. But again, coming back to that, you shouldn't be losing your values. Hard work has been imbibed in us coming back from India. And getting comfortable, losing your vision or goals is not something I would definitely be mindful of it.
Does your organization have another area of business where people can come and find resources and things of that nature as well? Can you give us a little bit about what your law firm does and just give us any information on how to connect with your law firm as well?
We are more into business immigration and limited family based immigration. So, business immigration means anything related to the H1s, L1s, and all those visitor visas and everything from any other country. Doesn't have to be. We connect being an Indian to the Indian community, but overall, we are very open about it, supporting our legal business immigration. And when it comes to the other part of me, I have been very, very closely connected with the community as I have supported on the community as a pro bono, as something on the humanitarian basis where someone loses their spouse being an immigrant in this country. I have done personally to support 29 widows, in a very different level of support system where what is the benefit if they lose the primary, like immigrant over here in this country, getting their benefits, legal benefits of the SSN benefits or, their legal stay. So many times I have done all these as a pro bono. As I said, I'm so involved in the community to support them. And then I always make a statement to my team as well, whether they are paid or if we are doing it voluntary, we cannot differentiate it. 100% of our commitment should go for both of them. Yeah, that's something I want that to be said that, the pro bono work doesn't go as a second choice. That's the priority.
Yeah.
And that's when it comes with a new road story, which I want to say that I don't work as an immigration attorney towards the new routes, just to differentiate it. My role is a fund manager. The journey of New Root started when I was connecting with an young widow from Australia. I was trying to support her with two children, how she's planning on to move to US. That's when the EB5 journey itself started for me. I never, like as an individual, I know the financial benefits, which I'm not minimizing it, but again, that's not my priority. For me, it comes what I contribute, what my service goes, and then it flows through differently.
Let's differentiate the two. So your law firm is named, what's the name of your law firm?
Law Offices of Mary Kennedy.
Okay, Law Offices of Mary Kennedy. And they can find you on what website and what social media platform?
The website is mkimmigrationlaw.com, and then with my name through LinkedIn or Facebook, we are there. Our presence is there.
And then you both have a company that's separate from the law firm, and that's called New Roots.
Yes, New Roots EB5.
New Roots EB5. Give us some information about that.
So New Roots EB5 Fund, like Mrs. Kennedy said, was kind of born out of a necessity to basically help the community, help the people. There are financial benefits for us too, but that journey was maybe like 5 years ago, 6 years ago, you learned about EB5, or was it?
Yeah, the 5 years ago, I know about the EB5
Yeah.
and seriously thought about it was 3 years before when I want to help an Australian Indian origin mom who was struggling with two kids, and she wants to come back to US. And then I just started learning more and more about the EB5.
Yeah.
And Matthew just came into the journey, and then where I was, I know Matthew for a very long time. Our relationship goes a long way, and then the way that I won't say myself as a mentor, because I just pour my soul and heart for him, for his growth. Steve and Sandra, he reflects so many of my thoughts, my values, and then I want him to be at a place where I want my children to be.
So it's really sweet.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I love that.
she wants my success also, which to me is like a mentorship. But we joke around that I'm like the third child in the family, right? So it's really, really sweet that I even have that to go around, travel together, enjoy life together. We're not just business partners, but like we enjoy life together too. We go out to eat, we go on vacations, we do all these things. It's like it's like I have a second mother, so.
The one thing I see in the Indian community, especially when it comes to business, whether you're North Indian, South Indian, or anything of that nature, is the concept of you bring community to business. So when you're talking about business and coming together as a family and creating businesses as a family and doing things of that nature, how important are relationships? Is it too risky to get too close, or is closeness the superpower that takes business to the next level?
I've asked people this, and some people are different. Where some people are like, you can never do business with family, things like that. In my mind, who else are you going to do business with? Who else do you trust? Who has the integrity? Who has these things that you can come to? And then also, there's two aspects of the community and the business, right? So I think what I've witnessed from the Indian communities, the Tamil community, the Telugu community, these different communities, like they have an ability to bring people together, but then to bring people up, right? And as far as that, I love how entrepreneurs support each other. They're trying to help each other grow, things like that. That's very powerful within the community, especially for someone that has a good reputation, because once you have a good name and you have a good reputation, people are willing to support you and back you. Other successful leaders are now willing to now put their name and reputation on the line to now bring you up, right? And like that's how I feel like for me, whereas like I'm not a Tamil person, right? But coming into a new community and I'm introduced as this, but because Mrs. Kennedy is the one introducing me, she's bringing me up, right? Versus like I could just as easily pull her down. And I think this is a big thing also of like mentorship and successful people. Like successful people have the ability, and it's a lot more stringent and stressful on them to pull someone up versus like my weight is just naturally pulling other people down too. And so I think that's the other thing is like I've seen is like successful people have the ability to bring people up. And I think the community and other leaders also do that as well. They have the ability to raise the level of the people that they're with also.
Like her father,
Yeah.
like Miss Mary Kennedy, and yourself now as you see with people that want to be at your level, right? You're helping people get up.
I want to do the same thing.
Everyone has that, and there's a cycle of life to that, which is a beautiful thing.
So the culture, the values, and then experience more than that. So my generation who had come in early 2000s, that's when the software boom happened in America. And then that's where when we all came in, we are at a place to give back because we don't want the next generation because it took a long more of time, trials, and then experiences we learned is very valuable, which we are at a place we want to give it back to our next generation as long as they put their efforts, hard work, and their commitment, which is what I really want the next generation. And I'm grateful that, like Steve, Sandra, or Matthew has it, and then they are ready to put it in. We are there to support as well as so that they thrive in a better place.
What do you want to see for the next generation? Like, what do you want to see for the world, right? It seems like there's been a decent amount of financial success. You have helped people as well. Like, is it just you continue to help people? Like, what's the vision that you want for the next generation and the world as you see humanity continue to grow, the generations continue to go forward, especially if you're not just looking at finances?
Definitely, like the authentic value system which they gained from the culture, which is what it makes us to stand unique and be successful. So I do not want that to be lost in the success and the short term, growth of yourself. I really wanted that to be valued. The hard work and the model that we have established for our children, the next generation, I definitely, that's where we stand successful right now. So I never wanted that to be minimized in the growth factor of it.
What does it look like to truly be authentic?
Authentic?
Is that one of the values that you want to continue?
Yeah.
Yeah, what does it look like to truly be authentic?
So the authentic nature of myself, as I said, I never prepared for this. All that I speak is everything has for me. It's just not for the podcast. That is who I am. No matter what, you wake me up anytime, you look at me anytime, anywhere else, you see the same me, empathetic and, just the real me. I don't have emotions or I can tear out because of this words that I speak and I mean it. So that's where the authentic self comes from. It's not for anywhere else, it's for me.
How powerful is it when someone shows up authentically? Like, we have so many people who are kind of not showing up authentic so they can be able to fit into certain rooms and potentially create certain opportunities. but how important it is for people to show up authentically, and how will that help their career if it doesn't help them necessarily in the short term? What does that look like in the long term?
The human connections I see, and people, the respect I earn anywhere I walk in, I don't. I just question myself sometimes. Do I deserve this? Because that much value I see in anywhere I go to when I speak. Just in 5 minutes, people can connect me on a level that, this person has something unique in her. I don't know. I don't plan for it. I'm just there who I am. I definitely feel the authentic nature of who I am is the only value that is helping me out to be on that place.
Yeah.
Also gives you a level of confidence too. Like when you go into a room and you're just authentically you, people naturally gravitate towards you because you're more relaxed, you're more calm, because you don't have a facade, you don't have a face. This is just who you are. So the people that accept you, you know you can be accepted by them. The people that are rejecting you, you know that you're not going to mingle. It's not going to work out either.
The trust.
The trust is
that builds up.
established a lot easier that way too, I would say.
Have you been through the process of where you weren't authentic at some point and then you transformed?
I would definitely
to
say
authentic?
through high school, I was trying to adapt myself into American culture or white culture of like I don't want to be Indian, or Indian's not cool. So I didn't want to be a part of the crowd that was getting made fun of, right? So I was being a chameleon and just being like, oh yeah, like that's not a big deal. But I have that facade or face that like, oh, that doesn't really matter that you're making fun of Indian people, even though deep down I know I'm an Indian person, right? All those stereotypes, all those things, like you put that to the side. But then I think growing up and you start realizing when you get to college that they're proud to be Indian. I see this in Black culture too, where they're proud to be Black. And it's like something where, okay, why am I so being embarrassed to be part of my culture? I'm culturing people, right? Why do I have to impress you, right? And I think that level of authenticity / like over time you start to understand that the people that truly have your back, and they're there for you, the real you, right? So the people that don't have it, or when you go out and meet them and you're like, oh, I don't like them or X, Y, and Z, whatever, that doesn't bother you because you're grounded in who you are and what you bring to the table. And I think that's something that I see in Mrs. Kennedy as well, where she could go to a room, she lights up the room because she's just authentically herself. She laughs, she smiles, she cries, whatever it is. It's just who she is.
Yeah.
And everyone in the room can understand that very quickly.
And that's so true. There was so much shaming. Like I even think about me using the word immigrant, and I'm like, is that a bad word or is that a good word? Because when you're a kid and using it, they're probably using it in a negative way. You know what I'm saying?
Very
And so,
right, using the word, shaming, like who I am, the identity of finding yourself. And then as an immigrant, we suffer with that actually. Is it a shame just to be emotional? And then, that takes a lot of time, confidence, and then the trust. And then all that is overcome only being authentic.
being authentic is so important. Matthew, when did you feel like you could step into that and start? When did that really flip for you? What decisions did you make? What time of life? Like,
I wouldn't even say it's decisions. I would say it's the people that I surrounded myself with, that I
that's
saw
powerful.
them, being who they are, being happy and pursuing what they wanted to pursue, their visions, their goals, their dreams, right? And so that drove that, like, they could just be them, right? I get to see people like Mrs. Kennedy walk in a room, just smile, laugh, and just be her. Well, now what did I start doing when I went to networking events and I started picking up? I wasn't trying to be like, oh, I need to say the right thing or make the right move or say that. I was just natural. Just, hey, how's it going? What's going on? Make conversation, get to know their family. What's their background? Get to know them, right? And then the conversation naturally leads, right?
I think that's so important that you mentioned that, because so many people are putting it on themselves to be authentic. But like, take the first step and surround yourself by authentic people.
Right.
And you're going to learn from that. You're going to adapt to that. And we adapt to things naturally. So put yourself in places where people are working hard, being authentic, taking on all those values. Because if you surround yourself by people with opposite values, and even you have those values, you're probably going to sway to their values, right? And so it's so important for you to surround yourself by people with those values. Is there any, let's say business is such a interesting place, especially with creative entertainment, business, you find people who are sometimes authentic and not authentic. Do you do business with everyone, or sometimes you don't feel that authentic energy and you're like, you know what, I'm not going to do business with that person, even if it's like a big deal? Or do you try to like protect yourself in the framework of which you do business in when dealing with unauthentic people or people with values that are different than yours?
when it comes to the business, very minimal connections. You're not dealing with them on a daily basis, day to day basis. So it's very hard to get back to that question to say that I am very, clear about it. But when it comes to my team or my family, that's where I feel the culture, the values. One of my employees, she asked me a question: how does it come to you naturally? You feel that you're having someone recruited, or the people you see, you trust them so much that like sometimes it looks very weird or stupid for others, but for me, I always feel the other person is as authentic as myself. I trust them and I get into trouble sometimes. It's okay. That's very, very minimal. I'm just going with who I am, let it be in the business or in the family or in a day-to-day basis. I trust that people are good, people are trustable. That's where I just see that.
Yeah, I love that. So it's not really concentrating on all these micro micro interactions. It's concentrating on the business. It's concentrating on the family. It's concentrating on the team, and then people who kind of come through that every once in a while will filter through the culture. And I think the culture will protect the business if you do it right.
I think through time you will learn someone's characteristics, who they are, their values, and you'll pick it up.
Yeah.
So even if you don't have the intuition of like, oh, this is amazing, whatever, give it time.
Yeah.
Give it 6 months, give it a year. True colors will come. You can't fake those things for so long.
But having your right team in place, like maybe you don't see it, but maybe she's, because you have so many people around you who have the same values. So maybe your spidey senses aren't going off as fast, but hopefully your teams, the team members around you are teaming up and being like, we don't feel good about this deal. And we can like agree on that as a community because these are our values and these are our system. So that's amazing. We are coming up to a wrap here. We got a couple more questions for y'all. I want you, Matthew, to plug EB5. I want you to plug New Roots
Yeah.
EB5. Look in this camera. Tell us what it's about. Tell us like how we can connect. Tell us, give us a little bit even of like a, 2-minute spiel. Like for someone looking for your service or anything of that nature, how can they find you? What is it? What is the requirements? Just give us a little bit of a pitch.
So New Roots EB5 fund is an EB5 fund. So EB5 is basically an investment visa. So right now with Trump's administration, there has been a lot of worry and insecurity around immigrants and their ability to stay in the US. So a lot of people are looking at how can I secure my American residency in the fastest way possible. The fastest way to do that is through EB5. Like I said, it's an investment visa where you invest a minimum of 800K into the US. But for us, you could start with a minimum of 200K. You could secure your visa with that 200K. And then after 6 months, you have to bring in the capital to at least 500K. At 500K, we could then loan you 300K. But at the same time, this is an 800K investment. And once you make that investment, then you're looking at getting your AP and your EAD, so your advanced placement, your work authorization, in anywhere right now, 4 to 6 months. And you can get through the 526E, which is your EB5 petition, in 10 to 12 months. So when you look at this compared to EB1, EB2, the rest of the EB categories, this is the fastest way to secure your American residency. And especially with Trump's administration, there's been so much worry within the immigrant community. And a lot of people that are on H-1B or are on F-1 are eligible. We have a lot of people that they themselves may not be interested in staying in the U.S., but they want their children to go into U.S. education or secure a job here or a future here as well. And so I think that's the biggest thing for us is educating the different communities, especially like the Chinese communities have known about EB5 since the 90s. That's when the EB5 program came out because the U.S. created this program to spur economic growth, right? So our whole mission is to help immigrant communities, at the same time create American jobs, and then also expand the overall economy, right? And so that's what we're trying to do with EB5. But like I said, the Chinese community's known about it, but the Indian communities, they don't know EB5 even exists. So they may leave the country to go to Canada or Australia because they don't think they could secure their residency here in the US, which is just not the case.
Yeah. What about anyone that maybe is not in the position to put that income down, but they know people? What about any allies or any referrals? Do you have something to say on that?
Yeah, so if there's, we're more than willing to, if anyone works with us and they refer us someone that invests with us, the EB5 petition is good for you, your spouse, and your children under 21. If we get a referral, We have referral incentives as well, because this is a triangle of trust, right? This isn't a $10 product or a $1,000 product. This is the life savings for a lot of immigrants for their last 30 to 40 years, right? And so because of that, it's so much of a trust basis versus, let me just try to do this transaction. It's a very, we pick up calls at 11 p.m., we take calls at 4 a.m., we do whatever we can to adjust ourselves for the immigrants, because we understand the anxiety it goes under to invest 800K. I've invested 50K before and I couldn't sleep at night. I can't imagine putting up so much more capital and seeing what happens with it. Right?
Why are people more safe with you with their capital than anyone else out there?
So first of all, I would say two things. One thing is we have Mrs. Kennedy's reputation of how much she's done for the community, and you could ask any Tamil community member if they go to FETNA, ATA, things like that. Her name is she's basically like a superstar, right? And so that's one aspect of it, of that we have the past and the reputation, so the brand recognition is there. The second aspect is our project is one of the simplest asset classes that you can do for EB5. So single family home development, but we're in a gated community with 2 golf courses, 8 tennis courts. There's a country club. There's a landing strip for twin engine airplanes to come into. When you compare our project, which is a single family home project or a rural single family home project, to the rest of the market, ours is basically one of the simplest and easiest to understand how you're going to get your capital back safely as well.
Wow. Sounds great. Ms. Kennedy, do you have anything to add to that?
So Matt covered it up very well. I don't know whether I'm a superstar or a celebrity.
I think so. We were literally at a restaurant and they're like, "Oh my gosh, are you Mary Kennedy?" I was like, "What the?"
I love it.
And this is just a Dallas restaurant, I was just like, "Oh my gosh."
So I'm grateful for that. And then, Matthew covered it. And just to say that as a disclaimer, I am a fund manager of New Roots and not representing as an immigration attorney onto the New Roots, just to clear the conflict that can be. And, just coming back, Matthew covered it all well on the New Roots, on the EB5. So for me, as I said, everything that relates to immigration and the legal field is to educate the community and let them know it's their decision, because it's a life-saving decision, but at the same time, you need to be aware of what's EB5. And particularly with the aging out of your children, you should definitely explore the options, just to not to, just keep it away, just with the statement saying that it's a very, very risky investment. That's not the way. I want you to educate yourself about the project, not only about the New Roots, anything that's available. Understand, and you're all educated people who are ready to, just explore the options of the EB5. So that's where I want to say that to the community.
Yes.
Last thing I wanted to say for EB5 was you could, for your source of funds, they want to make sure that the source of funds are clean. So these are tax accounted for dollars. At the same time, you could use a HELOC, you could use your 401k, you could use capital from India, Dubai, Singapore, wherever it is, as long as you have a paper trail of how you accumulated this wealth and how you lawfully brought that into the US, then we could work together. As far as the Instagram, so it's New Roots EB5 Fund, and the website is www.newrootseb5.com.
This has been an amazing conversation with Ms. Kennedy and Matthew. One word of encouragement, right? I would love for you to look into the camera. We have individuals who are in the process, whether they came to America, whether they're in America, they want to open up their own business, they want to start a business, they're going through the trenches of what it's like to maybe not get paid right away, and maybe, their vision isn't showing fruit for years. Is there anything that you can say to them to continue on their journey, to give them hope and to let them know that, hey, continue on it in faith and hope and belief? I would love to hear something from you.
As an immigrant and then being an entrepreneur in the journey, all that I would say is keep your value system, hard work and focused priorities, and never give up. This is a land of opportunity. You will definitely find so many opportunities as long as you put your focus and keep dreaming, and giving back to the community is not a choice. It's a legacy that everyone, individual, being an immigrant, has to be keeping on.
You still believe this is a land of opportunity?
For sure.
Absolutely. I love it. Matthew?
I would say number one thing is to have courage, take that leap of faith, double down on yourself, bet on yourself. It's never going to be, this is how it's going to happen, step A, B, C. it's going to be a complete zigzag. You're going to fail, you're going to fail, you're going to fail, but you just have to keep trying. And it's not going to be the first one. It might not be the second one, it might not be the third, but your 8th, 9th, 10th, 11th attempt, something will happen. You just have to keep forging a path and learning, and then you will eventually figure out your passion and what you want to achieve, and you'll be successful.
Thank you both so much. This was an amazing conversation. This is Inspire More Life Podcast. Y'all know what it is.